Gentlemen, we've all heard of the get rich quick scheme. This idea that by 25 we can be the multi-millionaire who has retired his family and has put his parents up in a penthouse, and he himself is living on a cushy little £400,000 a day allowance. We've all heard the stories and seen the people. And as a result of seeing them, we have all at some point been totally engrossed with this idea of becoming the overnight success multi-millionaire forex trader idea. The idea that is sold to us through the get rich quick scheme. Now, I wanted to speak today about the other end of this, the polar end, and apply a little bit of realism. Now, I'm not going to be the one that's here to tell you that some of these videos, most of these videos, are absolute bullshit. And the people that are doing them are not what they say they are, and the methods that they are claiming are oh so successful are horseshit. I'm not here to tell you that. You know that. We're all smart enough to know that a lot of these videos are not what they say they are. But what I've been thinking about recently is the fact that the fallout of these videos, though we have come to appreciate and understand that actually what it is they're telling us is far from the truth, a lot of people still fall into this trap of having this urge and this absolute desire to get what it is they're looking for and get it really quickly. They want to become the success that they have designed for themselves as quickly as they can, and the rush is on. It's almost as though people are on this kind of, the clock is ticking 24/7 and I need to get everything done now. The self-help industry has become one that is totally absorbed by the idea of getting success, money, fame, status, happiness in general done and sorted now. What I've been thinking about recently with regard to this way of thinking is, for the longest time, for the duration of the time that I've been someone who's wanted to get better at things and wanted to become a better person, I have felt this urge to get things done quickly and to get things done now, and I don't have time to wait. And what I realised recently was that this way of thinking was actually totally derailing what it is that I was truly trying to achieve. Now, as a result of trying to breeze past and speed run all of what it takes to be the person I wanted to be, I was actually sabotaging the idea itself. Now, for context, I am someone who I really want to become informed on things. That's the thing I would like to be good at. And my urge was to get as much information as I possibly could within 10 seconds. I wasn't willing to spend the time to actually learn something fully because I was so worried that I was somehow wasting my time because it was taking too long to do the thing. Now, I think the get rich quick scheme has a fatal flaw. Even if you don't follow the entire bullshit scheme all the way through, if you just take a kind of a glancing understanding of it and you feel like, oh, I need to be a millionaire by 25, or at least there's a potentiality that I could be a millionaire by 25, you can start speed running through the process to such an extent that you are no longer doing what it takes to become the thing that you want to be. Now, I've learned very recently that the longer something takes to do, the better the outcome is going to be. And for something like acquiring knowledge, it does take time to do things. There's been this idea attached to the get rich quick scheme that these things don't take time. And that's simply not the case. And what I would like to spin this into is, we are so unaware of how much time we actually have to do the things that we need to do, because of this idea that you might be, if you're somewhere around my age, I'm 20, you're somewhere around my age, there is this idea that we need to get, you need to be retired by 30, you need to make sure that your finances are in check by that time, and that you haven't got long to set your entire life up. Of course, I will caveat this with, there are ways that you can do that, and if that is something you want to do, that is certainly possible. But It is not possible for you to become someone within the space of 12 months who goes from having no interest at all in doing something and has no drive or impetus to becoming a millionaire 12 months later. It simply won't happen. And that's not to degrade anyone, but the point I'm trying to make here is we're not on as much of a short time scale as we make ourselves believe. There is far more time than we realise. Now, this idea is that we want to get as rich as we can so that we can, you're not going any further than you have to working. This is a totally flawed idea. And the reason that it is flawed is because it flies in the face of what it means to actually acquire, accumulate, and respect and enjoy what it is that you earn. Now, I was speaking recently with someone who, he and I had a less than comfortable conversation, and I realised that I'd come away from that conversation and I hadn't presented the best version of myself. I wasn't as informed as I would have liked to have been, and I didn't come away feeling like I'd really represented myself well in terms of knowing what I was talking about. And what I came to realise a few days after that was actually you were talking to someone who was 40 years your senior about a topic and a field that he knows far more than you on, but he's also had 40 years more than you have to acquire such knowledge. And this is something that is a real important idea, I feel, for people to recognise, is that a lot of people have a lot more knowledge than you or I, but they also have had a lot more time to acquire it. Now, as a 20-year-old, I have only been able to acquire knowledge of real life value for, reasonably 5 years. If someone is 45, they have had 35 years to do it, or 30 years, or, they've had a significant amount more time than I have to do that, or than you have to do that. And this idea that we have to get things done quickly, we have to learn quickly, we have to create quickly, we have to move quickly, though there is a level of truth in this, of course, that you want to be getting things done, you want to be moving in the right direction consistently, and you want to be working with a fervent desire, that is an entirely different thing to being able to read an entire textbook and find yourself knowing all of the knowledge back to front within the space of 2 days. It's not going to happen. And this is the thing that the Get Rich Quick scheme has pushed, is that things have to be done now. And this idea is something that I've toyed with and failed to master for a long time. Is I felt like I've been behind, and a lot of people feel like they're behind because there's this idea that is put into our heads that things need to be done so quickly. And let me tell you for a start that if you're someone who is on course to work towards things, if you take your body seriously, if you take care of your mind, if you have a craft that you're working on, if you work towards yourself in any capacity and you're doing so at a young age, you are by all accounts on the exact course you want to be on. You have to remember, and it is oh so crucial that you remember, that there is such thing as the compounding effect. Now, for those of you that, easy for me to say, for those of you that don't know, the compounding effect is essentially the idea that doing one thing on its own might not garner the most results, but once you do that over a long period of time, you're going to start coming out with a real well-rounded product. Now, Joe Rogan had a fantastic perspective of this that I really think is valuable, and he said it was like layers of paint to create a mountain. He said that when you do things, it's just like putting one layer of paint, and that eventually over a period of time creates the mountain that you're looking for. It creates the product, but it takes such a long time. Now, the compounding effect is something that is absolutely integral to take into account, because when you can look on the long run, you can look and you can go, right, how much money, if I was to save accordingly and invest accordingly, and whilst doing so, acquire a good skill that can increase my ability to do the aforementioned things, how well will I be doing if I continue to do that for 30 years? If I continue to do that for 10 years? If I continue to do it for 5 years? How, think about that for a second. If you were to really take care of one aspect of your life every day, or at least very consistently, with true effort, in 3 years' time, how much better would you be at that thing than you are now? If you spent the next 3 years just carefully watching what it was that you spent, not so much that you don't spend anything at all, but you're just aware of your finances, and then you put some money away and you invest a little bit of money, this is just the example, how much better would you be doing in 3 years' time? Well, of course, the answer is you would be doing much better than you are now. Now, admittedly, 3 years' time down the road, you might not be looking at the multi-millions that you have been sold, but this is where it's important to recognise that there is a long run. This life is a long game. You're playing the long game, and it's so. And believe me when I say this, I feel like I've heard the message that I'm telling you, and it's at one point crushed me. I do not mean to say that you are in it for such a long run that you're never going to get to where you want to go, and it's going to take 40 years of effort to get there. No, that's not what I'm saying. My point is that these things do take time. And what is important for you to recognise is that that is a good thing. That is what you want. You want these things to take time, because when something takes time, that is when you are afforded the luxury of really knowing the value of something. It is, of course, if someone was to put £10 million in front of you right now, you would probably quite appreciate that. That would be probably money that you would take, I would assume. If you earn a fraction of that, and you spent years earning that, you really understand what it took for you to create that. You know, as the person who put the effort in, what it took to create that. Now, that can sound a bit flimsy, and often I've heard people say, oh, you don't know the value of something. It does sound a bit flimsy until you recognise what it is that someone is saying when they say that. And the point is that the appreciation of value in assets that you acquire for yourself is paid forth in respect for yourself, and that in turn provides you with a feeling of happiness and joy for yourself, because you're not looking at yourself anymore and going, oh, I can't get my finances sorted, or I can't get my body sorted, or I'm still not reading these books that I said I should have read, I'm not taking care of my knowledge. You're no longer doing that. You're now looking at yourself and you're going, yeah, I do take care of my finances, or my body is looking quite good, or actually I do spend quite a lot of time studying. And this in turn provides you with an internal dialogue and a perspective of the world that entails joy. And this is the thing that I think is absolutely integral to to what it is that I'm speaking about in general here, is that it is fun and enjoyable and profound to acquire things. When you work for something, when the craft is yourself, and you spend all this time knowing that you're just chipping away, very, very gradually getting something that's starting to accrue and become a real product, be it, any form of yourself, when that occurs, you become aware of the fact that you are the person who is making that happen. I've spent all too many days in 2024 feeling shit, not feeling particularly good about things. And there was a video that I posted a few times. The 2 videos ago I posted. If you want to go and watch it, I would appreciate that. And that was speaking about the fact that life has not been the most enjoyable thing for me in the last year or so. But as a result of that, and as a result of being in those circumstances, my internal dialogue has told me that actually what it is that your instincts are telling you that you are is not the case. You are not that person. You are no longer, a fat fuck who's got no discipline or doesn't take care of themselves or lies to people. No, you now have empirical evidence that that is not who you are. And the point that I'm trying to get round to here, that was a bit shoddy, is if you create something for yourself, you are then accountable for that, and with that you hold that to yourself. It's a protection that you provide yourself, because you know that is, you are who you say you are. I think ultimately the thing that I'm trying to get across in this video is that the get rich quick scheme has brought with it this idea that we have to get things done quickly and we have to get somewhere without enjoying the process. And I think there's this emphasis that has been cast as a result of this train of thought that has provided some real uncomfortable feelings for a lot of people, because they feel like they're getting behind. And the reason that they feel like they're getting behind is because there's an expectation that has been set by people that are lying. You know, there's this expectation that, oh shit, that it's so simple and it's so easy to become a multi-millionaire as a result of doing your fucking Forex or whatever stupid shit they say they do. That why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you making as much money? Well, because the person who's creating that video isn't making that money either. And the people who do make that amount of money have a concept of the fact that it took them a long time to make that. Iman Gadzhi is someone who is certainly neighbouring this vicinity. And I remember watching a video that was actually speaking about his background and where it was that he came from. Now, as someone who from the outside seems like he is one of the get-rich-quick sort of guys, there was a video that he put up that was detailing how far back his journey had gone, and actually the amount of time he'd spent as a child working on his craft. Now, when you account for that, and you say, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a millionaire, you know, in certainly a good financial position pretty early on. But he'd spent a long time before that, multiple years before that, actually acquiring the skills that it took to create the product. There is certainly a sort of iceberg effect that occurs when it comes to success. What you see is not all that there is. There is a lot of time that it takes in the background to create these things. And I can tell you for a fact that when you are someone who partakes in creating those things, that there is a joy of experience that you will be afforded, and that is worth it. I really hope that message comes across with as much as intent as it is meant to. It is absolutely worth it to partake in the effort of creating something for yourself. You don't want to get it quickly, because if you get it quickly, you don't realise actually what that thing can do for you. It won't make you happy if you get it quickly. So with that being said, continue to chip away. Continue to do the things that make you better at something, whatever that is. If you want to be good at something, just keep chipping away at it. There's no time constraint to this. Just keep consistent. Keep doing the thing. And I can assure you that as a result of carrying on and knowing that you have time in front of you, so long as you just remain consistent, the product you're looking for will arrive, or it will certainly provide you with something of absolute value. Thank you, gentlemen.